Hey kids, on today's episode we're going to be going over how to do persistent checkboxes in a gallery control. That's it. Should be pretty easy. So what we're going to go over today is a problem I've come across in a couple scenarios where I have a gallery, I have some things I want to select, but I want them to survive filtering, be it through a search or through a drop-down or any other method you would filter. So to give you an idea of what we're going to build, here's the finished product, and then we're going to go over to a different screen and go ahead and put it together. So we see here we have our equipment from a previous video. Nothing special with the data, just it's here for a good example. And we see that we can select, and we see the count is going up. And if I were to come in and filter, or release the filter, we want to make sure these checkboxes don't get reset, which they do in their default state. Okay, so let's see how we can put that together. First thing we're going to do is kind of go over what it is we're building and kind of what we have to do to establish. So if you don't want to wait to the end, the secret involves putting a collection together to store these checks. But we're going to see how to put that together right now. So first, what do we do to get started? In my app on start, you're going to see some things that are familiar if you've watched the other videos. So we have some basic housekeeping. We established some colors, unrelated, but it's nice to have a consistent theme. I have a collection of my equipment, which is just this list here, which as you can see is very simple. Title, a number for an age, and a color just there. I needed metadata. What this is and what the data actually is irrelevant. We just needed something that could be filtered over. So I have, in preparation for the filter, I needed a collection for the drop-down. So I went ahead and did a collection, populated first with a blank value, and then for all the distinct colors in my equipment, I went ahead and added a value with that particular color so that in my drop-down, I have all of the available options. As we start here, you can see red, white, and blue come up as the options. And then obviously here I've just done some sample data, so red, white, and blue are those. You can do your filter any way. I just wanted to go ahead and do that just to make sure I had all my values. Back to app on start. This is the crux of our solution right here. I have a collection called selected items, and it is simply an ID field. That's it. I needed a structure I can add and remove things to that would just persist in memory. So in this case, what I'm going to do is save the ID of the item selected in a collection. And that's what is done here. I establish one example here with ID equal to 0, and then I clear it out because that gives us our structure on app on start, which we can then use later. So let's go ahead and put one of these together. We see our finished example. Let's go ahead and start over. And the first thing we're going to need, of course, is a gallery. And we're going to do our blank vertical gallery. We're going to pick our equipment collection. There we are. Let's go ahead and get you there. And within our item, we are going to drag in a couple labels. And we want to do title. Really? Oh. Title. We are going to do color and age. So we can reflect our data. We're going to take our individual item, we're going to give it a little shrink, and we are going to add in a checkbox. And this will do our selection, of course. Now I don't need the text in this case, so I just want the box itself. And we'll go ahead and position that in. So we have our gallery established. Let's go ahead and name some things for ourselves. Gal equipment, And now I want to make sure I name the checkboxes. That's going to matter here in terms of how we want to identify and iterate through our gallery. The rest are just labels. We're going to leave those as are right now. I'm going to go in here real quick. I just want to see that we do have a border, kind of get an idea where our data is. Okay. So if we run this, we see we have functional checkboxes. And we have a gallery, no current scrolling. So now we need to filter this. We see that we have in here, we just have our collection. So if we wanted to add filters to this, we would of course need a search box. So we would come in here, change our default, go to our hint text. Search equipment. And we are also going to do our input. Where's my drop down? Right here. And our items, collection colors. Make sure that's working. There's our colors. Okay. Now I'm not putting the labels in to make it extra fancy. We just want to go ahead and see this work. So now we need to come in and change our items to reflect our search, of course. So we want to go ahead and let's go ahead and rename our particular filter items. And now we're going to go into our items of our gallery. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our filter on. And that's going to be is blank cell EQ colors dot selected text dot value or color equal value. So now we should see that blank, of course, comes back and red does our filter and it does reset. Now to show you the behavior we're trying to get rid of. So if I were to come in here and select these 5, when I come back and select red, 2 remain because they've never gone away. But if I go back and reset my filter, my other checked items are gone. And that's the behavior we're trying to get rid of right now. So of course it works the same for search. We can go ahead and add in this, search that, text, EQ search text, comma, title, title color. And we should have red. Right. So our search works, our filter works. So now we need to make it so where our checkboxes persist when we make these filters. And that is going to happen when we check our box. The main functions that we are caring about today are the onCheck, onUncheck, and the default. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to check our onCheck. So here we need, when the box is checked, we want to add this item to the collection. So we'll do a collect call selected items, which we saw from our app on start. And we're just simply going to do an ID equal to this item.id. Real easy. I'm going to copy that for a reason. Now, if we want to prove that it is there, we can throw a text label here and have this text be, you have, take advantage of the count rows function. To do that. All right, so I have 3 items. Why do I have 3 items? Because I did not go back, stop, and clear this. So I am borrowing the same collection. We're down to 0 here. And, oh look, miracle. So now we see, of course, we are, but we haven't set up what to do here. So we want to go ahead and set up now. If we go to the check, we want to do the uncheck. If we paste in the collect, all we have to do now is just change it to remove, and that'll take it out of our collection. Now we have some junk. That is true. So let us go ahead and do a run on start. That will clear out our collection. Boom, we have 0. So now when we start, we see we have 1, 2, 3 items, 0 items left. Okay, so our collection is working, but that does not change everything just yet, because now we need to come in and set our default item, because we need to know if it's checked. So here we're going to come in, and under default, we're going to set up a is blank lookup call selected where ID equals this item.id. So if it's blank, don't check it. No, sorry. If it's blank, check it. So we want to not that. And what this will do is for every checkbox as it's rendered, it will do a lookup to see if that ID is present in the collection. So now we see we have our checks. They're counting. And if we come in now, we can filter for red. We will see 2. And when we let that go, we again have 4 checkboxes. It's really that simple. Now there are limitations to this particular approach in that with 6 items, you're great. If you have 1,000 items, that lookup may take a minute. So, you may or may not want to do this with a large collection. That's really kind of up to you, but I wanted to lay the groundwork of how this was put together. But that's really it. That's what I wanted to go over today. It was something that has come up a couple times in my projects, and I just wanted to share with you. So, if you have any questions, hit me up in the comments. If not, I hope this was helpful. See you, everybody.